what do we do with this Super Bowl hangover? Because we've never had anything like this. This is different. And we've been talking about this throughout the entire time. And I will say this right at the top. I'm not taking my foot off the gas. So it's now up to the teams to keep up rather than us going to meet the teams. Okay? And how much we get into that today is really up to the people, because there's no handbook to recover from this, because it's never happened like this. The first Super Bowl hangover lasted a long time to where there were people who admitted that they were not as hard on the teams for a little while because they never thought they were going to get a Super Bowl, and therefore they were chilling. And we even had people during this Super Bowl run say that even when they lost the last one, they were still thinking about it because at that point it had only been 5 years. Because, again, they never thought they were going to get one. Well, that's the funny thing about a hangover. Anybody that's ever had one knows they can be unpredictable. When you're 20, sometimes you don't get a hangover. You turn 30, you definitely start getting them. You turn 40 and up, sometimes they can last 2 days if you're not careful. It depends. How long does this Super Bowl hangover last? And then how do we move on to the next step? And the reason I say that is we know the Eagles are the new gold standard, as we talked about last week. Is that what we're looking for our teams? Are we able to engage teams that don't look like that? It's like if you're with a 10, and then for some reason it ends with that 10, and you get back in them streets, maybe even an 8 won't be appealing to you right away. And let's say this Phillies team's at 8. Is that good enough right now? We just had a 10. And the Sixers on paper were like an 8. They've turned out to be like a 4. And the Flyers are still just working their way up. You know, the entry-level job, and we'll see what they do with their lives. But how do we move on from this? Because my foot is not coming off the gas. Yet it's my job, and if you're a sports fan, you're going to watch the other teams. So how do we navigate this going forward? Because this one is different. This one is different. So how do we navigate going forward our first real Super Bowl hangover where we expected it to happen, Ricky Bo? This is different.
You know, you like to say you just take it day by day, but let's face it, most of the year there would have been a game on last night to talk about. There might be a game coming on tonight. We caught this in the strangest week. Look, the Phillies, yes, they took the field. That's number one. All the regulars are there today. So, okay, there's something going on in Philly sports. But then when you look at it, you're like, we just had all this, like everybody has been so high. Where do you go? Where does it fall? And, you know, you bring up teams. I think everything's got to take that extra step higher. I don't think there aren't any exceptions anymore. If you can't get your team to that level, how much are you really going to be talked about? How much are you really going to be loved by this city? We saw what it took to be extremely loved by this city. It's not just showing up. It's putting in the work. It's having like little superheroes within your superheroes. I mean, we all knew Saquon Barkley was a superhero, but did we think he was going to come in here and do what he did? Probably not. You look at Jalen Hurts. We knew he had it in him to win a Super Bowl, but he did that this year, and that's great. But where do we stand with everything else is the biggest question mark right now. The Phillies, hey, we've been waiting for them to win a World Series for years now.
Yeah. And
it hasn't happened yet. Is it going to happen this year? That's still a big question mark. You still have the Los Angeles Dodgers to figure around. But, I mean, what order to put them in? That is the toughest question that you can even throw out there. I'm interested to see what fans out here are thinking today, what direction they want to go in. Do you want to go to the Sixers? Do you want to stay? I believe there's going to be a good group that stays on the Eagles because it's a feel-good. It's a feel-good story, and it didn't make the team feel great. It didn't make the owners and everybody, not just them, but it was everybody, the fans, the city of Philadelphia, people watching in. The parade was A+ parade. They did everything right in this one. You know what? You kept it real. And when you win a Super Bowl, this city kept it real. They celebrated in the right way. And it just feels right. It feels like everything felt so right. And now we don't know, like, you don't know where to go.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I was just at a pub and I'm going outside, but it's still daylight out, and I'm like, where do I go?
Yeah.
What direction am I going?
Yeah, that's where we're at. So 610-632-0975 is the number to call and to text. Our word of the day is hangover. Now, we're going to get to some things that were said before the Super Bowl. We'll get to some things from some idiots. We're still going to be us, but this is a different kind of feel. What do we do about our Super Bowl hangover? We'll talk about that today here on 97.5 The Fanatic. Thanks so much, everybody, for watching. Really appreciate it. If you want more of this content, make sure you like and subscribe. And you know you can do that kind of over here if you want more of the best show ever.